So the hour of labor has arrived, and the work of another day demands our attention. Worthy Vice President, are we ready to begin?
Worthy Steward, please prepare for our work.
My assistants will open the Bible upon the altar. And now, worthy chaplain, as laborers under the great master of the universe, let us stand and bow in prayer. Chaplain, Almighty Father, maker of heaven and earth, and giver of all good, we return our heartfelt thanks that we are permitted again to meet each other here for work in our glorious cause. Give us patience, wisdom in our counsels as a body, that our work may be good and acceptable in your sight, and that our laborers may be blessed with a liberal harvest. And when we are called to lay down our implements on the earth, may we enter that paradise, not made with hands, eternal in the heavens, and receive welcome greetings. Well done, good and faithful servants, quote unquote. We beseech you to bless the officers and members of this Grange and all concerned with the order from the highest to the lowest degree, and grant them prosperity. We ask all in your holy name.
Amen.
Amen.
Worthy lecturer. Well, we're not going to do that. Patrons, I'm about to open the Grange. Please assist with a salutation that signifies that a good patron places faith in God, nurtures hope, dispenses charity, and is noted for fidelity. Patrons in faith and hope and in charity and with fidelity, this Grange meeting is now open. Worthy Vice President, please proclaim it accordingly.
By command of the worthy President, I proclaim this Grange open for promoting the welfare of our country and of mankind, for advancing the interests, elevating the characters, and increasing the influence of all its members by properly transacting our business and by exemplifying our principles in faith, in hope, in charity, and with fidelity.
Worthy Gatekeeper, do we have any guests present to be introduced? I think that may qualify, Paul may qualify, but our introducing Paul, who's on mute, of course, as he should be. And we'll hear from him later, but we're so thrilled that he's here. Thanks to Priscilla. So looking at the order of business here, did you all get the minutes of the last meeting of the executive committee meeting, I hope?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So I'll call on our worthy treasurer, Lynn, to give us a financial report.
Well, as of the end, yes.
No, I was just going to ask, we have somebody from outside the Grange who's on this call. Shouldn't that go before we start discussing details?
Who's that?
Our speaker for tonight?
I just introduced.
No. I'm saying, but we're now going to go over the financials?
Yeah.
It's usually okay, Joan. Sometimes they let the speaker be first so they can leave, so they don't have to listen.
I think we need to talk about it afterwards and change the order up, because this poor man's been on the phone on mute for a half hour.
No,
now
he's
we're
paying his
doing a
bills.
meeting.
He's paying his bills and everything.
Yeah, that's not a good use of his time when he's doing us a favor.
Joan, we had that conversation with Paul. So he said that was
No, I was on the phone when you told him to put it on mute and pay his bills, but I'm just saying, I don't think it's a good use of someone's time if they're coming to speak with us to have them on the phone 45 minutes or so on hold. On mute. I don't.
Not courteous.
Personally, it's not courteous at all.
Yes,
Okay.
and can I just interject here? Normally, we've always had the speaker first, and then we've had our business meeting after that. Not just to be kind to the speaker, whose time is valuable, but also to preserve the confidentiality of our business dealings. So I would suggest, I would like to introduce Paul right now, if that's okay with you, Bill?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Bill,
Thank you,
Paul.
ladies.
Paul, we've enjoyed some conversations on the phone. It's nice to see you in person. And I want to welcome you on behalf of the Easton Grange. And you have come recently to your post at Borderland. Most of us remember Eleanor, who was there for years and years and a really dedicated servant. From our discussions, I can see that you too are very dedicated to the job ahead. So welcome, Paul Clifford, and tell us a little bit about your background and what drew you to this position at Borderland.
Well, thank you guys for having me. As Priscilla said, my name is Paul Clifford. I'm the visitor service supervisor at Borderland State Park. And you mentioned Eleanor. Really quickly, Eleanor she left big shoes to fill. Eleanor, we all know, held many different positions at Borderland. And I'm so glad she was able to retire, but we miss her terribly at Borderland. Many people know her and remember programs and stories and working with Eleanor, and she's amazing. But I grew up in Foxborough, about a 5-minute ride down from where Borderland State Park is. And when I was 4 years old, the first state park my grandfather ever took me to was Borderland State Park. So I've gone full circle. I went there as a young child with my grandfather, and now I have the privilege of working for the Department of Conservation and Recreation and continuing the legacy so many people before me started, from the Ames family who built that house, bought all that land for the idea of conservation. It now falls on me and my amazing colleagues where we're able to be stewards of that land. But educationally, in my background, I was able to graduate from Franklin Pierce College up in New Hampshire with a degree in environmental science and biology. So I'm coming at my job from a scientific background. But when I started working at Borderland, I fell in love with the history. Before working at Borderland, I knew very little of the Ames family. And when I started working there, I just kept on reading and talking to so many amazing people. I was able to grasp and understand the amazing impact that the entire Ames family had on Easton, more specifically Oaks and Blanche. And it's just a remarkable story. And since I've started working at Borderland back in 2011, 2012, it's been a fun and amazing journey meeting so many people in the community of Easton and Sharon. And it's been my privilege to work with everybody.
And you were going to give us a little brief history for those of us that aren't familiar with Blanche and Oaks Ames.
Of course.
Just a brief history.
I'll try to be brief. I'm never too brief, but you can cut me off whenever.
We got time.
Oaks, we have Borderland State Park today because of the vision Oaks and Blanche Ames kind of had so many years ago. Oaks, he was a botanist, a professor of botany at Harvard University, and he marries Blanche in the year 1900. Blanche, I personally think she outshines her husband a little bit, but Blanche, she was many things in her lifetime. She was a mother of 4 kids. She was a women's rights leader, a political cartoonist. She was an author. She was the architect of the beautiful mansion that we have at Borderland State Park. But most importantly, she was a self-taught artist. Right now, because of COVID, the mansion at Borderland is closed for touring. Historically, I was able to give 4 or 5 different themed tours a week inside the beautifully fully furnished mansion. And I can't wait until one day after this whole pandemic ends to invite everybody back in to learn and immerse themselves in the history of the Ames mansion. But if you ever have the privilege of going into the mansion at Borderland, most of the paintings Blanche painted, very talented artist. But they got married in the year 1900. And they started raising a family. They have 4 kids. Living with Oakes's mother, Anna, in the center of North Easton. Ed probably can tell you a lot more about that part of their history. But in 1906, Oakes and Blanche had bought up about 1,250 acres of land, and they moved their family into what is known as the Tisdale House, which used to sit on Mountain Street in Sharon. And Oakes and Blanche, they moved their 4 kids into that house in 1906, and that's where their legacy really began at Borderland. But shortly after moving into that Tisdale house, Oakes and Blanche, they got sick of that house. They just moved in there. Oakes and Blanche, they wanted a house, a home of their own. So in 1910, Oakes and Blanche together, they sat down and figured out what they wanted in a new home. They wanted a house with unique angles, a house with a European style, a house that fit in with nature. Because Oakes and Blanche, they bought up to 1,250 acres of land because they wanted to create a nature preserve, a preserve for their kids and their grandkids to one day enjoy, to go hiking and fishing and canoeing, to enjoy nature. And Oakes and Blanche, they started the construction of the new home, that mansion that now still stands at Borderland, in 1910. It was completed in 1912. And when it was completed in 1912, it had all the new amenities of the time. It had an automobile garage, it had central heating, it had electricity, which is pretty cool, you know? And that became the house, the home of Oakes and Blanche Ames. And in that house, those walls tell so many stories. One of them, and one of my favorite stories, is the suffrage story. Suffrage meaning the right to vote. Blanche was a strong advocate for the women's rights movement. She led a chapter in Easton, and she was the treasurer of the Massachusetts League of Women Suffragists in Massachusetts. And on January 13th, so a few days ago, if you will, January 13th, 1915, Blanche held a suffragist meeting inside that mansion. 38 women attended that meeting, and they plotted and they planned and they wanted to get the message out there that women deserve that right to vote. Because on November 2nd, 1915, the men of Massachusetts would have the opportunity to vote. Do we give women that right to vote? Yes or no? So Blanche held a meeting on a snowy January day. And last year, with the help of Ed Hands, the Oliver Ames High School, the STEM network of Southeast Massachusetts, they did a reenactment of that meeting, that suffrage meeting that Blanche held in her home on January 13th, 1915. And that video is available to watch on the Friends of Borderland's website, www.friendsofborderland.org. Check that video out. I think it's only like 12, 13 minutes long, but it really paints a good picture of what Blanche and other women were facing 100+ years ago to fight for that right to vote. As I mentioned earlier, Oakes, he was a botanist. He studied orchids. He is still known as one of the world's most foremost researchers on orchidology. Orchidology is a real word, and every time I say it, I always question myself, but orchidology is the study of orchids. Oakes, he spends his whole life helping Blanche out, working with Blanche. He starts the first men's league in Massachusetts for women's rights. I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but before I forget, I want to mention that Bill Ames, him with the help of Kevin Friend and BCN Productions, just also made a beautiful documentary called Borderland, The Life and Times of Blanche Ames Ames. And it really illustrates the importance of your voice in a democratic system and how Blanche and Oakes fought for that equality for enfranchised women in the voting process 100+ years ago. check out a link to that is also on the Friends of Borderlands website, friendsofborderland.org. But Oakes Ames, Professor Oakes Ames, he dies in the year 1950. Blanche, her whole life, she continues to fight for women's rights, continues to fight for women's issues. She sits on the boards of women-only hospitals. She co-founds the Birth Control League of Massachusetts. Blanche paints almost every single day of her life, and in her 70s and 80s, she writes a 600-page book about her dad. She was a remarkable woman, if you ask me. And Blanche, she dies in 1969. And after she dies in 1969, she was 91 years old. After she dies in 1969, her 4 kids all get together, and they really needed to decide what to do with Borderland, what to do with all that land, what to do with that house and all of its contents. Sure, the kids could have sold it all and made more money. But at the same time, all 4 kids were all in their 60s and 70s, all grandparents themselves at that time. They didn't need another estate to take care of. And the 4 kids, they remembered that their mom and dad had bought them all of that land back in 1906 to enjoy nature. They wanted to continue that legacy. So they sold all the land to the state of Massachusetts, the park system. So all of us can enjoy to go hiking, to seek refuge in times of pandemics, to go fishing, to reconnect with nature. And the 4 kids, they essentially donated all the items inside the mansion because they understood that their family story, the Ames family story, is the story of Massachusetts and the story of America. And when we get out of this pandemic, hopefully all safely, I hope so many more people come to Borderland and come on one of my mansion tours to learn more about the Ames family, the connections with America, the connections with Massachusetts. But today at Borderland, I do have that privilege of working for the Department of Conservation and Recreation of Massachusetts, the state park system. And today, Borderland is over 1,800 acres of land, over 20 miles of trails, 5 ponds that you can go canoeing or fishing in to really connect with nature. So I hope you guys, after this whole pandemic ends, like I said, I really hope you guys all come out for one of my programs.
Oh, Paul, that was a wonderful summary of the history. And I think some of us, you told us a few facts that some of us didn't know. And thank you again. So from that legacy to the legacy that you and others are contributing to, and all of us are enjoying, please tell us a little bit about the programs that you have been offering. Now, I realize during these COVID times that programs, for the most part, have curtailed. But tell us a little bit about what we can expect in the future.
Awesome, great question. So once again, my title at Borderland is Visitor Service Supervisor. That's a mouthful. And essentially my job is to do educational and recreational programs that highlight the history and the nature that can be told at Borderland State Park. So historically, I do about 50% of my programs are nature-based and the other 50% are history-based. Really in 2012 was a wash. I wasn't able to do any programming, any tours or hikes. But in the year 2019, I offered, Borderland State Park, we offered over 550 free public programs, from mansion tours to fishing programs for kids to hikes and so much more. One of my favorite programs, and in 2019, of those 550 plus programs that we offered, over 12,000 people attended those. So a lot of people are coming out and reconnecting with the history and nature that's in our backyards. One of my favorite programs that we do offer at Borderland in the summertime, and I don't know when we'll be able to bring this back, but is fishing at Borderland. And all summer long, every Monday night, historically, we invite kids and families to come and fish with us. We provide the bowls, everything. And we teach kids how to cast the line out, how to put the hook on the line, how to reel it in, identify the fish that we're catching, and then we measure them. And that's one of the most rewarding programs to me personally, mostly because so many kids, they catch their first fish with us. And to see a little kid's face light up when they see catch their first fish, it's words can't explain that, can't describe that. And in 2019, we taught over 100 new kids how to fish on those summer Monday night programs, which is a lot of fun. It's a lot of work for the staff, but every staff member that we have, we all participate somehow in that program to really ensure that the families and the kids that come out to these programs are enjoying the time, but most importantly, they're learning something. Another program I love doing in normal times are my Friday hikes. Every Friday, historically, used to be every Friday, 1 o'clock. We'll see what happens in the future. I hike a different trail, and anybody can join me. We do 3 to 5 miles every Friday. We go at a moderate pace, and we got to see different trails of the park that you might not venture to by yourself. Because I know there's a lot of people that I'm still not accustomed to, or maybe not accustomed, but I'm confident enough to use a map. So my goal is to make sure that everybody that comes on my hikes, I become confident in reading maps and just know some hiking safety tips along the way. But also like full moon hikes. Every once in a while, I used to do full moon hikes. That's always a lot of fun. But one big thing, and I need to give a giant shout out to the Friends of Borderland. The Friends of Borderland, they're a nonprofit organization, and they financially assist Borderland State Park by raising money, doing fundraisers, by putting on programs to financially really help the park. And they do a lot of amazing events throughout the year. Historically, a few of their amazing programs, they do the Blanche Ames National Juried Art Show. They've done 18 years of that, and artists from around the country can submit their work. A juror comes in, selects like the 50 best pieces, and then they're displayed in the mansion, usually for the month of September, and then prizes are awarded. Another amazing program they do is a murder mystery. It's kind of cool. They usually do it in October, and they usually have some light hors d'oeuvres, and you have to get your ticket in advance, and you go in and you're part of a murder mystery, which is pretty cool inside that historic mansion. So I encourage everybody to like the Friends of Borderland on Facebook. Check out their website. Every penny they raise, 100% of it goes back to Borderland State Park. And I'm so grateful to have such a supportive friends group.
Okay. And some of us have visited the park, participated in the tours of the mansion, viewed that juried art exhibit, and I think I remember a wonderful concert that was there, 60s and 70s music, which for some of us is what we like. So
I love that music, yes.
Anyway, it's a wonderful place, and you are certainly suited for the position you have, and you have, I believe, you are filling Eleanor's shoes very well, and she will be, I'm sure she's delighted to see you take over the reins of the program in there. And we all look forward to a COVID-free life when we can meet you in person at the park and enjoy some of the programs which you are planning. So thank you so much. If you have any
Can I ask
other
a question? I just make comment. I always enjoyed, I used to go up there and I'd do some running years ago. And I always got a kick out of seeing those high school track teams up there. Mid to late afternoon, great swarms of them. And
So I'd like to ask our attendees if they have any questions or they have any suggestions for programs that Paul might like to hear about. Carolyn, how about you?
I don't have any suggestions off the top of my head, but I think Priscilla's right. You know, anybody who has that much love and enthusiasm for a program is certainly going to be successful, and best of luck to you.
Thank you.
yeah, hey, Priscilla, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I know that disc golf is very popular, but is it getting more popular or with COVID and everything, or what's the?
That's a great question. In 2020, we've seen a drastic increase of visitation in general at Borderland. The disc golf course reopened back in July and is under new guidelines. Some of the new guidelines are going to go and play disc golf at Borderland. No more than 4 people per group. Social distancing, please wear a mask, carry in and carry out all your litter. But we do have a disc golf course at Borderland. For those of you guys who don't know, disc golf is essentially Frisbee golf. And we do have one of the, I believe last time I checked was one of the top 10 disc golf courses in the country, which is pretty remarkable to have it in our backyards. And I've seen people of all ages enjoy the course. In normal times, once again, we do have discs at Borderland that you can borrow if you want to just come for the afternoon and throw the disc and the Frisbee, if you will, around. But because of COVID, we're not loaning out discs at this current time. But with everything, there has been an uptick, Bill, on the disc golf course in visitation.
Yeah, I'd always heard that it was one of the most popular places to play disc golf. Anyway.
It definitely is. Have you played?
I have played disc golf. Yeah, there's
Nice.
a ski area in the West. I haven't done it in Borderland, but I didn't really get it till I tried it, and it was sort of fun.
It definitely is a lot of fun.
Obviously, you got to be skilled and all that, but I had quite a good time.
Just like anything, it takes practice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I know that that I have friends who go there every day with their dogs, and and you know they walk for 5 to 7 miles every morning, and so Joni, I think you and I should take Land Cruiser up there. What do you think?
Yeah, not for 5 or 7 miles, but yes.
And the dogs love Borderland, and just I want to be doing my job. If you bring your dogs to Borderland, make sure they're on leash.
Yes. Now, but isn't there a place where they can go off leash? Isn't there?
Yep. We do have a small little field that is marked with signs near the Smith farmhouse, which is about a mile hike from the visitor center, where dogs are allowed to go off leash.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, dogs need to be on leash everywhere else in the park.
Now, also, can you tell us, I have I guess it's a senior citizen lifetime, whatever, so that I can park in the park.
Well, you have to be 62 or older to have one of those.
Okay, well, I'm just a little bit older than that.
Okay. Yeah, so if you hit the amazing age of 62 or older, the Department of Conservation and Recreation, DCR, offers senior parking passes, which are good at every single state park, state beach, state reservation in Massachusetts. So Horseneck Beach, the Nantasket Beach here at Borderland. It costs $10. And due to COVID, to obtain your senior parking pass now, you have to go onto our website, which is www.mass.gov/DCR. In the search box, just type in senior pass. It'll bring you to the right website. But essentially, you have to mail it into the headquarters with a bunch of information, like something that proves that you're 62 plus and a check for $10. all that information is on our website. So if you're 62 or plus out there, make sure you take advantage of that lifetime pass.
I mean, that's really remarkable for $10, a lifetime pass.
Great deal. Best deal that I know of. I can't wait until I hit that age.
Yeah, you need a pass because I used to park up there and I get caught about twice a year if I didn't have my pass. So those
Yep.
guys are pretty good. They do catch it.
Yep. We do have a remarkable team of rangers there, but parking at Borderland for Massachusetts residents is $5 daily. You can get your annual pass. DCR also sells annual passes for those under 62 who would like to take advantage of all the state parks and beaches. It's $60 for the year. It's good January 1st to December 31st. And once again, that's all online this year because of COVID. www.mass.gov/DCR to get your annual or your senior parking pass.
So how much of Borderland is in Sharon at this point? I know Michael's watching, so he'd be interested.
That's a great question. It's about 60% of Borderland is in Sharon. About 40% is in Easton. I can't do the quick math off the top of my head. I wish I wrote down those numbers before I came on. But about 60% is in Sharon. So a little more in Sharon than Easton.
Yeah.
One question about the pass. The pass you're referring to is only for Massachusetts residents. Is that correct?
The $60, yeah, both the $60 annual pass and the senior pass are only good for Massachusetts residents.
Okay, what about, I have another pass, lifetime pass for all national parks. Does that operate at Borderland?
No, Borderland is a state park, so we don't have any real affiliation with the National Park Service.
Oh, of course. Yes, of course.
We get this question all the time, but if you are, I don't work for the National Park Service, but I believe if you're 62 plus, you can also get a lifetime pass for all the national parks. I believe it's $70 or $80 now, but still good for life, still a great deal. But I would recommend going onto their website, nps.gov, I believe.
Well, you know, when I bought it, it was $10.
Yep. 2019, I believe, is when they brought up the price to like $80. But you got it when it was a good price, $10.
I did.
Yep.
I was old. Okay. Well, Paul, any parting words?
Nothing that I can think of. I just want to thank you guys for having me today, and I can't wait until we can meet after this pandemic is over. And I hope you guys all come out to Borderland, even if you come out and socially distance, wearing a mask in the time before the pandemic ends. Borderland is a great refuge. You know, so many people over the last year have come up to the staff at Borderland and just thanked us for having the ability to come outside and connect with nature in this time of uncertainty, if you will. And it's so nice to see people coming out and enjoying nature, wearing their masks, socially distancing. But I can't help but think it was Oaks and Blanche 100+ years ago who had this vision. And it was the 4 kids that were able to carry out that vision by giving the land back so we can all enjoy today. But I want to thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you do a great tour, boy. I can't wait to see it.
Awesome.
Back on the job.
That means so much coming from you. You're amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm going to sign off now.
Okay. Thank you, Paul.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Well, that was great.
Yeah,
Good show.
Priscilla, that was a very, very good lecture.
Yes.
Yeah, it really was. He's so articulate, and he never says, like so many of us.
That's right.
Great tour. He gives a wonderful mansion tour. If you ever get an opportunity, that enthusiasm carries over. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you, ladies, for giving me the heads up about the order of battle here. So
Just don't do it again.
Yeah, you know what?
I don't know what happened. I lost it.
I didn't mean to be rude, but somebody who's not part of the organization
No,
does
no, I
not
get,
need to hear what we have in our checking
right,
account.
right. I think we all get it, and I appreciate the heads
Yeah.
up, Joe, for sure.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go into the business meeting, and I'm just texting Jason to say about 15 minutes from now we'll hear this wonderful music that's been put together. So the minutes were sent out. I hope everybody got a copy
Yes,
for about our Zoom executive committee meeting. And so Lynn, perhaps you'd go first and talk about the balances at the bank.
Okay, the balance as of December 31st in the checking account for the savings is $7,404.05. It is $11,013.95. And our profit for the first quarter is $4,666.95 because our year starts in October. And we got, after the 1st of January, we got a small amount of money for the, the Lions Club. I mean, the thrift store was, it was about $400 because they're taking a hiatus due to the COVID.
So what's our total balance at the savings bank?
Well, I'm giving you, I don't have in front of me what it is like this moment, but December 31st, the total of what I'm saying, the contribution is very small. It's happened the last 10 days because the income from the thrift store was small, but the total amount in the checking account as of the end of December was $18,418 with about $4,700 of profit in 3 months.
So it's good. We're on our way back. September was the low point, I think. But that the Grange, the thrift store, I think, is closed in January.
Yes.
So I guess they're gonna play it by ear.
Yeah. Anyhow, so that's great. So Joan, you want to give us a little update on the building?
Sure. The only correction, just going back to the notes you sent out today, Bill, the end of them, it said Lynn hadn't heard anything back from, I'm sorry, you attribute that to me. You said Joan had not heard back from the state Grange on our loan. That's actually Lynn.
All
Yeah.
right. All right.
If you
And strictly speaking, it'll probably be Lisa because they communicate
Right.
with the secretary.
Yep. The only thing that I have on the building is that we're very fortunate to have received a terrific and very inclusive bid. It's our second bid, but it's a great bid on the bathroom. So now we're just waiting to see where we are with the state Grange and the reopening of the thrift store, I guess, to decide what we're going to do, when we're going to do it. Ed, do you have any info on their thinking of reopening?
They're definitely closed for this month.
Yeah, that I knew.
With the hope of reevaluating and opening in February.
Okay.
But again, I think somebody said playing it by ear, and I think that's
Right.
exactly what's happening.
Right.
Everybody's scared, given the resurgence of the COVID.
Yeah, and the seven variants of the strain now.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Okay, yeah, that's all I have on that, on the building to report right at this moment.
Okay, good. Good. I can say I was up there myself last week with the two contractors, one for the gas system, and they replaced the filters. And they've eyeballed the system, and I think we're good to go on the gas. One of the filters was pretty dirty, so we got that cleaned up. And so we're doing a stewardship job there. And the fire extinguishers there's 2 fire extinguishers on each floor, and they've all been taken out, and they're off at R.E. Lyons Company, where they're testing them and getting them back in shape. And so we'll have them officially certified and put it back up probably in a couple of weeks. So we'll be 100% on that. So that's good. So I didn't realize that there were 2 gas burners. One's up in the 3rd floor, or second floor, I guess it is. And the first is on the first floor, but it's on the ceiling. I had never seen that before. I mean, what do I know about gas burners? But fortunately, these guys knew a lot. So I think we're doing a good job in terms of that. And I think even though the place is closed, when I was up there were a couple of the Lions members there, and they were sort of reshuffling the merchandise and whatever, and trying to make it look better. So the work continues. They're just not open. So anyhow,
We had a question at the last meeting, I think, Bill, about the maintenance of the oil filter. And when I was up there, I got the call because you had left or whatever. And I ended up talking a little bit, and the oil burner guys said that to the best of their knowledge, the filter hadn't been checked since we put in the oil burner.
But it's gas though.
Gas burner, excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, and that it should be checked every year. So that was a question. How often do we need to check it? And the answer is once a year. So
at least I asked that question too. So he said, because it extends the life of the gas system if the filters, or if we watch them, and they gave us an extra filter for each burner. So we've got 2 spares. They're stored up on top of each burner. So
good.
So that's good. So we're keeping the building in good shape, and get this handicap bathroom done, hopefully sooner rather than later. But the loan application, according to Lynn, I think has been looked at, and so that suggests that it's okay to go for the decision process, right?
Right. Well, yeah,
They would have told us.
Yeah, they met that Saturday before last, so I think it's in the pipeline. I'll give George a call this week because he's on the board, and otherwise I'll call Debbie Goodrich, who's the secretary.
Yeah. Good. Well, I think we're doing our bid for the Lions, and the Lions are doing their bid for the town of Easton, and that's the way it is. I mean, it's tough to do programming on our part at this point. Maybe in the summer we'll come up with some ideas, but it's a whole different world out there. And as I say, I've discovered this Mother Earth catalog, which I'd always heard of the Mother Earth news, or whatever they call it. But the website, very interesting, and a lot of it's about sustainability and agriculture and whatever. Very interesting articles and everything. So I think we can sort of take that as maybe our playbook in terms of how do we feed out information to the people who like us on Facebook. I mean, what will they see to like us? And I think if we can focus on this sustainability thing, which I plan to bone up on. Can't say I don't know much, but I get it. So I think that could be a big breakthrough, because it's because I try to scour the web looking for things to post on the Facebook, and Carolyn's been great to post, but it's I search all these other Granges. I have these links to about 50 other Granges around the country.
Wow.
So I just get fascinated looking at what they do, and it's a lot of sort of community chat type stuff, but sometimes not much information, but you do get information of different programs, which has been great. So
Let me suggest that Kyla Bennett is a wonderful resource for environmental issues, sustainability issues, all of that. So you may want to give her a call or an email to ask for suggestions that you could post on our website.
Yeah, no, that's a great suggestion. She certainly knows some good links we steer us to get some more things for sure. So Jason may be on the phone at the other end at this point. You're there, Jason? Great. Well, I think we're coming towards the closing of the Grange. So we have a musical offering. Ernie, maybe want to introduce it?
Yes, that would be our Lisa and our Michael at the at the ECAT recording songs for today specifically, meaning the Martin Luther King birthday celebration. And I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
Hello. Michael and I have put together a medley of some spirituals this evening that we'd like to perform for you, and we encourage you to please sing along with us. I thought it might be helpful if you know ahead of time what we're going to be performing, so I will list the medley, and hopefully you know at least a few of these pieces that we're going to be doing. We'd like to start with Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child, and then Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. The third piece will be Walk Together Children, followed by Nobody Knows the Troubles I've Seen. And then we're just going to end with a small little tag of repeating the Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. So please sing along if you know. We encourage you to do so. Thank you. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home, a long way from home. True believer, a long way from home, a long way from home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Oh, swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Oh, swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Oh, walk together, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, children, don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. Oh, walk together, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, children, don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. Gonna walk and never tire. Walk and never tire. Walk and never tire. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. Oh, walk together, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, children, don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Nobody knows my sorrows. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Glory, hallelujah. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down. Yes, my Lord. Sometimes I'm almost to sorrows. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Glory, hallelujah. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Oh, swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
And there you are.
Well, I'm impressed.
Yes.
Great
Yeah,
job.
excellent. That was really good.
I saw everybody's mouths moving, but I didn't hear them singing.
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
Some of us aren't that good at singing, Carolyn, so I don't think you want that on here.
Some are better than others.
But the point of a sing-along is that everybody sings along.
No, but some of us are really, really bad. So, no, you really, don't, be careful what you wish for.
So Michael, that's a great job.
Yeah, excellent.
Thank you.
So
I
did you
joined
have
in,
to,
Carolyn, at the very end on the alto part. I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody heard it.
I couldn't, I was singing some of it, but I couldn't hear anybody sing. So
so Michael, how long did that take you to do?
Christmas caroling, and that's probably why no one's singing out loud.
Well, maybe next time, Ernie, you could play some songs that we know and we could all sing together.
We knew these ones.
You mean
That
like
may
a
work, it may not on Zoom. It's difficult when you try to do it on Zoom. It doesn't work well.
Right.
No,
I agree.
we're good. So Michael, how long did it take you to do all that?
Well, we did that. You mean the actual recording? We did a
About an
couple
hour?
of takes. Ernie had us in the studio. It worked well in the studio. That was a good way to do it.
Yeah,
We did it at the Easton cable television studio.
I think you need a bale of hay though in the background, don't you?
Yeah. We can
Grange.
do that. They have a green wall. We can do the green wall and then put various backgrounds in it if we
Yeah.
want.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah, I think you need to do that with a cow in a pasture or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have some fun with it. Well, that's great. That's a big contribution to our meeting. Needless to say, we really appreciate you and Lisa and Ernie, of course, collaborating on that.
Wonderful.
I guess you guys are pro musicians, so fortunately it doesn't take too much time, but it does involve getting there and getting set up and everything. So many thanks. So Jason, thanks to you for helping out on that.
Yes, thank you, Jason.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. You're always in our corner, which we appreciate a lot. So thank you so much. So any comments or questions anybody has before we go through the ending of this meeting? All right. Okay, so Lisa, we had a nice discussion about these virtual choirs. Have you ever heard of the virtual choirs, where you get scores of people and thumbnails, and I think we should try that. I think we could get a lot of people involved. We don't have to all be together, obviously.
Yep.
We can all do it separately. I did some searching on the internet, and gosh, there's all sorts of YouTubes on how to do it and special software. It's really not, it's not hard. It just, it just requires doing it to get it right. So
Layering the voices.
yeah. And so I think we're going to give it a shot. Lisa's got some energy for the thing, and it'd be nice to have us all singing together on the screen, with I guess how it works is they play the melody sort of softly in the background, and then there's sort of a bouncing ball on the words and everything.
Mhm.
They sing the words, and then you upload the video to the person who's in charge, and he or she looks at the video, and if you're on beat, on melody, whatever, you get in, and maybe you're not. They turn down the volume a little bit, you know.
Oh,
So
good.
it's not as if you have to get it 100% right. If you're only 60% right, they'll just turn down the volume, but you're still singing the words as far as everybody's concerned. So
Yeah.
there's
Okay, Bill,
And we're not looking for perfection. We're just
Yeah.
looking for, everybody to connect,
yeah, yeah. So that's well said. So I think if we can, make individual appeals to a lot of the members who aren't on this call, they'd probably be happy to help us out. And, we'd probably be the #1 Grange in Massachusetts for a week. We were just about the first one on Zoom, I think, don't you think?
yeah, Bill, I'd like to ask the group to give me some suggestions for programs. Right? I mean, I can dream up things, but I think it's important for members to, enjoy programs which they think is important. So if you have ideas that you think would be important for the Grange to have programs on and thereby communicate those ideas and programs to the greater Easton community via ECAT, please email me or, let me know, give me a call.
Right, because there's all sorts of YouTube videos, brief ones we could show and then discuss something, something could put the subject on the table in a video and then we could break out and discuss it all. It's sort of like raised beds, that's always a big favorite. So,
Okay, my email address is paolsen1@gmail.com. That's paolsen1@gmail.com.
okay, well, so noted. And if you have something for Priscilla and you forget her email, you can just email me at WBAmes and I'll make sure at AOL, I'll be sure it gets over to her. So I think that's a good crowdsourcing of ideas, right, Priscilla? Know what we're doing.
Okay.
Can you say that in Swedish? Crowdsourcing?
Crowdsourcing in Swedish? No. I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's time to close the Grange. It's very sad, but we got to move on, get this month going. Vice President, are the labors of the day completed?
They are, worthy President.
As there is no more work for us today, the steward will see that the implements are properly secured for the night and the assistant stewards will close the Bible upon the altar. Brothers and sisters, we are again to separate and to mingle with the world. Let us not forget the principles of our order. Let us add dignity to labor, and in our dealings with fellow men be honest, be just, and fear not. We must avoid intemperance in eating, drinking, and language, also in work and recreation. And whatever we do, let's strive to do it well. Let us be quiet, peaceful citizens, feeding the hungry, helping the fatherless and the widows, and keeping ourselves unspotted from the world. Patrons, I'm about to close the Grange. Please assist with a salutation that signifies that a good patron places. Ed, you might help us out here.
I'm working on it. Yep.
Yeah, watch Ed do this.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Can't see my
Good.
hands.
Watch his hands. A good patron places faith in God,
It's there.
nurtures hope, dispenses charity, and is noted for fidelity. Thank you, Ed. Vice President, please declare the Grange closed.
By command of the worthy President, I proclaim the Grange closed until lawfully open again in faith, in hope, in charity, and with fidelity.
So be it.
So be it.
So be it.
And the chaplain, who sadly cannot be with us tonight, says, may the divine master protect, guide, and bless us all now and evermore.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. The labors of the day are closed. Thank you, everybody. It was a fun
Thank
meeting.
you.
Nice
Thanks
meeting.
again, Ernie and Lisa
Thank you.
and